And welcome into a fresh new week of sports gambling with Moneyline Monaco. I'm your host, Alex Monaco. It's Monday, May 23rd, top of the week to you. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review all things this pod. If you're enjoying yourself, if you've been cashing, all my social media has picks as well at Moneyline Monaco and Alex Monaco, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And of course, all picks posted on Action Network. We're coming into the work week here, cashing 5 of 6 against the spread in the first 3 games of the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, respectively. Only thing we didn't hit, and I did a trends play yesterday. I wish I didn't. I went to the Mavericks at home in the 0-2 spot. Historically, those teams bounce back. Had them in the first half as well. 6 Scotty Van bad beat. Should have won the first half to at least even us out. And the Warriors take a commanding 3-0 lead. Now, if you were with us last week, told you before this series started, Warriors minus 1.5 was something I was on at a humble plus 110. We are in the driver's seat there. I have double dipped on the Celtics down 2-1. Let's get into our lock of the day and picks for tonight. All things Celtics Heat game 4. Lock of the day. I got to go with the Celtics minus 6.5 here on FanDuel. Little nervous. It's a big number, but I'm going to get into it. I'm going to drive you through why I feel confident they can cover this number. The first thing is that they're 4-0 against the spread in this NBA season when they have lost in the playoffs. 101-89, they lost game 1 to the Bucks. Came back, spanked them game 2, 109-86. Game 3, lost by 2 points, came back 116-108 to even the series with the Bucks again. Lost 110-107, came back, beat them by 13 points, 108-95 in that one. So 3 times the Celtics proved you down 102, 103-2 that they can come back and respond. We obviously know they lost to the Heat by 11 in game 1, came back and ran them out of their own building, 127-102. So 4 wins straight up, 4 covers against the spread after a loss this playoffs. 2 of those 3, by the way, against the Bucks on losses were on the road. And then, of course, the one on the road in game 2 in Miami, they've done this on the road. Now we have the luxury of them going to home court here, leaning on one of the best crowds in the NBA and righting some wrongs. Let's start with what happened in the first half in game 3. They just couldn't catch their feet. They shot 15 for 35 from the field, 3 of 12 from 3-point land, 11 turnovers in the first half. It was tough, but I am optimistic that they were down 26 at one point, and that game was 93-92 Saturday night. They could have stole that puppy. Coming back in the second half, shooting better than 54% from the field, which was excellent, and 9 of 12 from 3-point land. You cough up the ball 24 times. 24 turnovers in game 3, which equated to 33 Miami points off those turnovers. You're not going to beat a team like Miami that's fundamentally sound and excellently coached. It's just not going to happen. Honestly, gift wrapped them more than 30 points. More than 30 points in game 1 and game 2. And 17 points off of turnovers in the first 2. And then you look at game 3 and they almost double that in terms of points and turnovers in game 3 from 17 and 1 and 2 to 33. I mean, that's it right there, Jerry. 19 steals for Miami in game 3. 19. I don't see that happening. Also, Jayson Tatum got a rough game out of his system. 10-point game. I'm going to talk about Tatum. I love him on a prop tonight in points on what he does when he has a mediocre game or an off game historically in these playoffs. The following: But I see tonight a sense of urgency. I see tonight a team that's going to play together like they did in game 2. And this is a make or miss league. They didn't have a good first half. They came back. They tried to play catch up. They were chasing. Tyler Hero tonight, likely not a go with the quad. Jimmy Butler tonight might not be a go as well. Lowry's been banged up for 2 series. I know we have some injuries a little bit on the Celtics side with Smart. Horford still getting his, of course, conditioning back, recovering from COVID. Tatum took a spill, but he's already been cleared. If Marcus Smart is a go, which I like to say he is because he's got too much dog, I don't see any reason why this team can't bounce back and get a win. And you saw what Marcus Smart is when he's healthy. 24, 12, 9 boards and 3 steals. Guy almost had a triple-double. Coming off missing game 1 in game 2, eager. The Celtics team has not lost back-to-back games in the playoffs. I told you, 4 covers, a 25-point victory in game 2. This is a perfect get-right spot. It's a part of the zigzag theory as well. So I'm going to go Celtics to cover tonight in the TD Garden. We go back to Miami. And I mentioned it as well. This has a 7-game series written all over it. You just have to pick your spots correctly in these games. So far, we're 3-0. It's the same guy, if you follow me on social media, that gave you Heat +6 on Saturday afternoon. Reluctantly. So lock of the day, I'm swallowing the 6.5 points. I'm taking the Celtics. And then the same game parlay, the degenerate special. I'm going to go with the Celtics double result. Win the half, win the game. It's around -140. Seen it move to -145 on FanDuel with a couple of player props in there to give us a 2-1 plus 200 payout. Hear me out. This Celtics team, when they lost these games and came back, all right, 3 of the 4 losses, they were up by halftime. In fact, you go back to game 2 in the first quarter of their first time they faced adversity against Milwaukee, 32-21 was the first quarter. Won the first half by 10. Then they won the first half by 10 in the other game, against the Bucks. We're down by 2 points at halftime in one of those 3 losses, but ultimately creamed them. And then you look at what they did, particularly in this series, which is a little more prevalent, of course. They beat the Heat in the first quarter 35-24, and the second quarter 35-21. So an 11-point and 14-point victory. They're up 25 points by halftime against Miami. That game was over. And if you kind of look at the theme of these NBA playoffs, even happened last night with Dallas and the Warriors. They were even a large part of that first half. Warriors win the third quarter. They're like the best third quarter team in the NBA, statistically speaking. They win the game soundly. The Celtics, they need to come out to a very, very strong start. I think they do. They get the lead in the first. They stay in the lead by half, and then they ultimately cover and win the game. But I got this Celtics double result. I might even like the double result more than the covering tonight because, Miami's an excellent cover against the road, as I mentioned in my video on Saturday. Then I'm going to go with Jayson Tatum, 25+ points. All right, he's hit this number in 6 of his last 10, but in particular, after a bad game, and he had a bad game. He was hurt a little bit, but 10 points. All right, you remember what happened when he had 10 points in that loss against Milwaukee in the early parts of that series. He came back with a 30-piece. He's also gone for 29 and 27 in game 1 and game 2. So he hasn't really shot efficiently. PJ Tucker's been all over him like a pest, but you go 3 of 14 on 10 points and you're the star of the team and you're the superstar that everyone's looking to ascend here into the top 5. Already probably in the top 10, in my humble opinion, in the NBA, you expect him to bounce back. And all 3 times he's had fewer than 20 points this postseason, he's bounced back over this number. And 19 points in game 2, 39 in game 3 in the semis, we remember, and then the 10 and the 30 piece in the semis against the Bucks. As long as he's healthy, I feel very comfortable that Tatum gets us over 25 plus. And then Jaylen Brown, 20 plus points. He's probably playing the most consistent in this series for the Celtics. He's averaging 29.3 and 9 boards. He's shooting 55% from the field and 45% from deep. This man put up 24 in game 1, 24 in game 2, and 40 in game 3. Excellent from beyond the arc. For me, I think if they're going to win tonight, the recipe is simple. Jayson and Jaylen give us 25 plus. I'm just going to go Jaylen 20 plus as I want it. I'm going to be sick if we hit a double result. Tatum gives us 27, 28, 30, and Jaylen gives us 24 because he's hit that number. FanDuel is far too sharp with these numbers. I'm going on the same game parlay section under more wagers, and we'll dance there. So this pays just over plus 200. Celtics to win the half, win the game. Tatum 25 plus, Jaylen Brown 20 plus. I like it a lot. And then wire to wire here for my prop bet. Very similar argument to what I've been saying in the theme of this episode. I think this Celtics team, they have to come out and they have to establish a lead. They have to come out with energy. They have to come out with conviction and authority. And you look at what they did in game 2 on that bounce back win against the Heat earlier in the series, and everybody ate. Everybody ate. They had 6 guys in double figures in that 127-102. And that was, as I mentioned, Smart's 24-point outing. Horford gave you double digits. Grant Williams and Pritchard gave you 19 and 10. This is a perfect spot for these energy guys like Williams and, of course, Pritchard, who's been pretty solid off of the bench this playoff with conviction and playing with a lot of purpose. I think there's no other recipe for tonight. I have it in my noggin. It's in my betting head. Again, rock with me here. I've been undefeated in this series. I've pinned it to a T like a gentleman. I think plus 148 because, again, this wire to wire. So you just have to be up after every quarter. You don't have to win every quarter. Meaning if the Celtics go up by 10 in the first quarter and the Heat outscore them by 4 in the second quarter, but they're up 6 at halftime, this wire to wire is still intact. So they have to be up after the first, up at half, up after 3, and of course, win the game. And we're getting plus 148. I think it's decent value. Now, Jimmy Butler may not even go tonight. By the time this episode hits your noggin, you may have a different number than 6.5. I think Tyler Herro is going to be out tonight. Can they make up for it? They're not even playing Duncan Robinson. Let's also not forget, as I end here, Bam Adebayo had 31 points. He didn't even sniff that combined in game 1 and game 2. I think this is a excellent get right spot for the Celtics team. We go back to Miami for 2-2. Just feels right. Seems like it's the perfect play. And that's how we dance. Celtics to cover minus 6.5. I'm going Celtics double result. Jayson over 25 plus, Jaylen over 20 plus, and a little wire to wire. Short and sweet, baby. Let's catch some W's. All my picks will be posted on Action Network. I may fire on a couple more props before the end of the day and tip off. And again, if you're enjoying yourself, please subscribe, rate, review. It goes a very long way. And of course, all posts on social, Moneyline Monaco. And then I'm on Twitter as Alex Monaco. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow. A little best gambling show ever. Dynamic duo back in the building. Don't forget, as always, to hug your mothers. Ta-ta real smooth.